You know, we think of empathy as this incredible human superpower, right? It's how we connect, how we build trust, how we love. But what if that power could be flipped on its head? What if someone could read you like a book, not to connect with you, but to control you? Yeah, today we're going to explore the darker side of human connection.
Okay, just for a second, I want you to think back. Can you remember a time when you felt completely, totally seen? Like someone just got you, no explanation needed.
And I'm not just talking about the words you say. I mean someone who understood the stuff you don't say. They could just see the emotions swimming right there behind your eyes.
It's this wild feeling, almost like fate, like you finally met the one person who gets your inner world. And that feeling is so powerful, so irresistible. But here's the twist. That exact skill, the thing that makes them seem so perfect, can also be a weapon.
So this intense, almost magical connection, it actually has a name in psychology. We're talking about dark empathy. And it's probably one of the most dangerous forms of influence out there, because it doesn't show up looking like a threat. It shows up looking like love. So, what exactly is it? Well, think of it as having the pinpoint accuracy of an empath, but with the cold, emotional detachment of a predator. It's a trait you often see in what's called the dark triad of personalities. So we're talking narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. They can read the map of your emotions perfectly, but they have absolutely no idea what it feels like to walk that terrain.
To really get this, we gotta break down empathy into two types. First, you've got cognitive empathy. That's the knowing part, the intellectual part where you can identify what someone is feeling. Then there's affective empathy. That's the feeling part, where you actually feel it with them. You resonate with their emotions.
And this is the absolute key. A dark empath is a master at the first part, the knowing, but is completely disconnected from the second part, the feeling. What does that mean? It means they know exactly what to say to make you feel better, but they'll only do it if it gets them what they want.
But here's something really important to understand. Nobody is born a dark empath. This is a learned skill, something that was forged in the fire of a really tough childhood. It's not about being some kind of born monster. It's about being a survivor who just learned the wrong lessons about how to connect with people.
I mean, just imagine being a kid and having to walk on psychological eggshells every single day. A child in that kind of environment becomes an expert at reading every little shift in mood, every tone of voice. Not because it's a game, but because their safety depends on it. And to cope, they learn to watch emotions from a distance, almost like a scientist observing a specimen. They become spectators to feelings, not participants.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, a dark empath has a very specific and very subtle playbook for getting control. Let's break down some of their key moves.
All right, first up, they have something you could call emotional X-ray vision. It's incredible. They see you glance at a happy couple across the street, and they don't just see you look, they see your loneliness. They hear that tiny hesitation in your voice when you talk about your job, and bam, they've pinpointed your biggest insecurity. They are constantly, and I mean constantly, gathering data. And once they have that data, once they know where you're vulnerable, their next move is brilliant. They disarm you with what's called strategic vulnerability. They'll share a story about a past hurt that sounds eerily similar to yours. It creates this instant, deep bond. But you have to understand it's not a shared moment. It's a weapon being deployed.
This all leads to their core strategy, personalized manipulation. Because they understand you so deeply, they can literally become the exact person you've been searching for. If you're looking for a mentor, they'll suddenly become the wisest person you've ever met. If you're terrified of being abandoned, they'll swear they'll always be there for you. Well, at least for a little while.
And their control isn't the scary, intimidating kind. No, it's a charming dominance. It's built on a foundation of warmth, of compliments that make you feel like you are the most incredible person on the planet. But you've got to remember, every perfect compliment is really just an investment. Every big favor they do for you is a debt they'll collect later. This isn't kindness, it's strategy.
So the big question is, how do you spot this in your own life? It's almost never about one single thing they do. It's about the patterns. And breaking their spell all starts with learning to see those patterns clearly.
Okay, here's the huge one. They give the most perfect, believable apologies. I mean, flawless. They seem to take every single box because they know exactly what you need to hear. But here's the real test. Watch their actions. Do they actually change, or is that perfect apology just a reset button they push to make things okay until the next time?
Another classic pattern is just wild emotional inconsistency.
One week, they're showering you with attention, making you feel like the center of their universe. The next, they're cold, distant, and you have no idea why. This is so powerful because it makes them both the storm and the shelter, and it creates this intense, confusing dependency.
And think about how your fights end. Dark empaths are absolute masters at twisting things around. Even when they are 100% in the wrong, you'll walk away from the conversation feeling confused, probably apologizing, and somehow feeling guilty for their bad behavior.
Most importantly, listen to your gut. Listen to your body. After you spend time with them, do you feel energized or just totally drained? Do you feel clear-headed or just confused, even when they're being nice? Notice how they encourage your vulnerability, but they stay locked up tight like a fortress. And they'll use those subtle little digs, like you're overreacting or you're too sensitive, to slowly chip away at your reality.
Now look, the point of all of this isn't to make you cynical or afraid of connecting with people. Not at all. It's about understanding the real power of empathy and the serious responsibility that comes with being able to see someone.
Because when you really think about it, the most dangerous part of this whole thing, it isn't the darkness, it isn't the manipulative plan.
It's the disguise. That's what makes it so powerful. Dark empathy works so well because it looks and feels exactly like deep, genuine love and understanding. It taps right into one of our most fundamental human needs, the need to finally be seen.
So I want to leave you with this thought. Is the empathy you give or the empathy you get a bridge to connect, or is it a cage? Because real power isn't just the ability to see into someone else's world. It's having the responsibility and the character to treat what you see there with care. And in a world that so often rewards just having influence, choosing real connection over control, that might just be the most powerful thing you can do.